guys, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Welcome back to the MARC train. This time, instead of turning east onto the Penn Line, we're going to turn north and ride the Camden Line today. This is a winter afternoon. We have departure at 4:43 p.m. At the head is a MP36H-3C, and in tow are a number of Sumunto Nippon Cherio single-level cars that MARC typically runs on the Camden Line. Well, I'm supposed to be able to see around, but I can't see anything in the passenger compartments. That's rather irritating. Very strange, I can't see a thing. Well, that stinks. So, funny thing is, like the Penn Line, the Camden Line goes to Baltimore, but unlike the Penn Line, it doesn't go beyond it. It terminates at the south end of Baltimore, which is a little bit out of the way from the Penn Line Penn Station. But Camden Station, ironically enough, is right downtown. You can see the skyscrapers and whatnot there. So you get a tour of Baltimore that you would miss had you taken the upstairs route, or rather the downstairs route of going through the B&P tunnels. We're going to be stopping at Washington, Riverdale, College Park, Greenbelt, Muirkirk, Laurel, Savage, Dorsey, Saint-Denis, and we'll be arriving at Camden Station at 6 p.m. So as you can see, the Camden Line is quite a bit slower than the Penn Line. It takes an hour and 15 minutes just to go 40 miles to Baltimore. Departure time. Heavy train. Most Camden Line trains are parked under the building here. Generally, the only thing that's further west is long-distance Amtrak trains. Hey, it's the Washington Monument. That's not where the Capitol building is, though. The Capitol building is actually due south. and of course the MARC Brunswick line trains, which unfortunately we don't have the Brunswick line, but it would be great if Dovetail Games would make it because it is really beautiful. You go through the mountains, you go over a bridge, through a tunnel, and you go alongside the Potomac River. Oops, I am speeding. Also, unlike the Penn Line and the Northeast Corridor, the Camden Line does have level crossings, which means you'll be hearing a lot of the horn. So on the left, on the right, we've got the Northeast Corridor, at least what will become the Northeast Corridor and MARC Penn Line. This becomes the MARC Camden Line and eventually feeds into the Capital Sub. And the rest of those tracks go into Ivy City Yard and eventually become the Metropolitan Sub and join up to become the MARC Brunswick Line. And on the far left is the Metrorail Red Line for Washington, D.C. Okay, again, Northeast Corridor, MARC Camden Line, and that's the capital subdivision of CSX. When those two come together, we've got the Camden Line. This is it, end of Ivy City, and we are now joining what was the Metropolitan Division. Now it is the MARC Camden Line and Capital Subdivision. Okay, this is the split with the Northeast Corridor. We are now on non-electrified track. That is the only electrified track that remains. I'm driving a little bit fast to try and make up time. Not speeding, of course. We're due at 4:53 in Riverdale Park. We're definitely not going to make that. We're still 4 miles away from Riverdale, and we'll be late in 2 minutes. Must have seriously screwed myself up with that overbrake. Okay, we're traveling through northeast Washington, D.C. right now. The Brentwood neighborhood. Washington, D.C. One thing that I do want to note about this version of the Camden Line is, given the amount of trees, it's as this place would have appeared in the 1930s or even earlier. This place is all urban and suburban now. The tracks would be lined with homes and row homes. So if you're a freight train and you need to go south of Washington, D.C., you can either go through Washington, D.C. Actually, you can't, because you can't go through the tunnel. So the tracks that we're on are westward bound trains that don't go south, they go west. If you want to go south and get to the RF&P, you can't go through the First Street Tunnel. So they go through the Alexandria extension instead. So instead of turning off left at the First Street Tunnel, you continue on straight. It becomes the Alexandria extension, goes around the Anacostia River, comes up over the northeast corridor, and now joins the track approximately where we are now, near, actually right underneath of alternate US 1. US 1 would be right there, by the way, in Hyattsville. So that's the town we're in now. Unfortunately, like I said, this is, probably World War I era. This would all be downtown Hyattsville here. There's a flyover for US 1 that goes right over the tracks there. Anyhow, we're coming into Riverdale now. too bad. We're only about 2.5 minutes late. Could have done better on the parking job, though. Although I must say that the brakes are really irritating to use. Ah, good. We have dynamics. I'm going to use the dynamics next time because it's way easier. Okay, next stop is going to be College Park, and we are due there at 56, so we're already due, unfortunately. By the way, you can probably notice New Carrollton over there. MARC will, believe it or not, actually cross-honor tickets between the Camden Line and the Penn Line in case of shutdowns and other issues. So you can actually get off at one station on the Camden Line and get onto a Penn Line, and they will honor your ticket. If the stations are paired. More on that a little bit later. Okay, in modern times, the Washington Metro Rail Green Line would be in a tunnel underneath that hill under tons and tons and tons of houses. And very recently, they've actually put up some 4-story condominiums right here. And so right about where that gap is, the Green Line comes out of its tunnel, goes up onto a flyover, goes over the MARC Camden Line here, and settles on the other side there, on the other side of the tracks, and parallels us for quite a few miles. Late here at College Park. The Camden Line carries a lot less traffic than the Penn Line, so the station stops and stays are a lot shorter. As you might imagine, College Park is right next to the University of Maryland, so All of that over there would be University of Maryland. There aren't homes over here, although there are homes on the other side. This is now a commercial development. Okay, next stop is going to be Greenbelt at 501. We're already late again. Not all of the roads are simulated. This used to be Paint Branch Parkway. It's now called University Parkway. Now the Merwin Heights station used to exist, but it doesn't anymore. I believe it was decommissioned in the 1980s. But there's a pretty sweet pedestrian bridge over this location in its place. That used to be the Washington Post building. It's now part of the university. Greenbelt Road, but it is now Greenbelt Road is now on a bridge, and again in modern times too. This would be the Capital Beltway, I-95, I-495. We'd be going under a bridge right here. Greenbelt is the last station on the Washington Metro Rail. As you can imagine, this crossing doesn't exist because the Washington Metro Rail with a third rail, along with its enormous maintenance facility, is right where those giant buildings are. Next stop is Muirkirk at 507. well-named Green Line ends right about here. So we're now on our own. And modern-day Sunnyside Drive is right about here. This is Maryland 212 Powder Mill Road. I'm having some serious issues controlling the train speed. Brakes take forever and a half to release. It's ridiculous. Now, the MARC station actually wasn't included in the original train simulator, but I've added it right here. Now, it looks like a mess. You might be asking yourself, why is it a mess? And the answer is because the train simulator route editor is one of the most ridiculous, hardest things ever to make something out of. Basically, imagine trying to make a 3D model by drawing in 2D in Microsoft Paint. That's how hard this is. Well, I think we made up some time. We made up about 3 minutes. Our next station is Laurel at 5:14. bushes are again, under scene. Actually managed to make up time. We're actually on time. Okay, so there's US 1. That's downtown Laurel. The Patuxent River, which is not simulated in this, is just ahead up underneath that, beyond that bridge, which is that bridge is Maryland Route 198. Which, by the way, on the Penn Line, you might remember Maryland Route 197. Well, that actually ends at 198, pretty much right here. Skip a station now, Laurel Racetrack, and go to Savage, do it 520. You might remember in some of the more mountainous trips, such as Sea to Summit, I mentioned the fall line. So far, the track has been, for the most part, straight. However, we're actually about to negotiate the fall line before we get into Baltimore. Right now, we're in Laurel, which is about the halfway point. We're now equidistant between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland. That means the tracks are going to get a lot more curved as we enter the fall line and now go into the Piedmont zone. Right about now, we'd be crossing the Big Patuxent River. And we're coming up to Laurel Racetrack, which is a flag stop only. Years back, it used to be an insanely busy place. The Laurel Racetrack is actually right in this open area. And to be honest, it needed the one that they have in Camden to be realistic. There's only two wooden platforms that are low level right here, and that's the station. The actual Laurel Racetrack is right in that open area. And yes, they still race there to this day. That's horses, by the way, not NASCAR. Much better. Forgot I could turn the light on. Right after Savage, we would be crossing the Little Patuxent River, but again, this is a very low detail route, so it's not simulated, this part. going to be Dorsey, which takes the place of at one time Elkridge Station. That's at 5:32. So if I'm not mistaken, we got quite a long way to go. Yeah, we got a few miles ahead of us. Now in this area, there used to be another railroad, the Washington-Baltimore and Annapolis Railroad, and it had a spur that came up to the B&O main, well, it's not main line, but Capital Line. And that junction was right about here, Savage Junction. There's not much that remains of it today. Jessup has a maximum security prison in it. That's the that's where the most dangerous criminals in the state of Maryland go. Is the place in Jessup. I think there also used to be like a mental hospital or something out that way too that people nowadays love to explore illegally. Talking about, you know, this is typical railroad that you get above the fall line. You know, instead of being more straight, it's more curved, and it'll be like this all the way to the descent into Baltimore. By the way, the mileposts over here are incorrect. They're signed from Philadelphia. However, this railroad was built by the B&O, which means that they are signed from Baltimore. So we're not at 105, we're more like at 15. In fact, you know what? I have the numbers right here. 14. seeing those color position light signals here. A little bit different than the PRR ones. Overbrake this one because this station has a train may leave 5 minutes early, and you know what? I'm going to take it because I've been late this whole time. By the way, this is Dorsey. Once Elkridge, but now it's Dorsey. Pretty soon, we'll be coming up to one of the biggest highlights on the Camden Line. Thomas Viaduct. And yes, it's a viaduct. It's a proper viaduct, and it's over the Patapsco River, which is the main river that forms the harbor in Baltimore, which we should be able to see today because Camden Station goes in beside the inner harbor. Well, not the inner harbor, the middle branch. Middle branch of the Patapsco River. So our next station is going to be Saint-Denis. And believe it or not, Saint-Denis comes after Thomas Viaduct. this wide though. I love too that there's tons of stars, but nowadays that's unrealistic. You couldn't even see. I mean, I could pick out that star. You could see that one, that one, that one, that one. The rest of them you can't see. What the heck am I train? Station here, you can see the guy that placed that had about as much skill as I did. Perfect. Okay, so let's see how we're doing time-wise. We're due at 5:42, so we're actually 5 minutes early. The interesting thing is this is a discharge station, which means that the train only discharges passengers. Funny thing is, both the Camden Line and the Penn Line go through Halethorpe, and they meet in Halethorpe. That's coming pretty soon. Anyway, we've got like 4 minutes to go, so I'm just gonna sit here for a couple minutes. Train 852's next stop is Baltimore Camden Station itself at 6 o'clock. once again. This is Interstate 695 with the Baltimore Beltway. We're now on the Baltimore Terminal Subdivision, and at this point we would be able to see way up ahead, near where those trees are, we would be able to see the high rises of downtown Baltimore at this point. West Patapsco Avenue here, and we're now entering the Baltimore city limits. Baltimore is the second largest East Coast port, and this is the port section of the city, so there's, factories and railroad tracks and industrial areas as far as the eye can see. that's supposed to be simulating the Baltimore Central Light Rail line, but the Westport station is not actually in that location. In real life, the light rail line would come off where those buildings are and then meet up with the track here. The middle branch of the Patapsco River is out there, and that is downtown Baltimore. The Howard Street Tunnel to actually continue under Baltimore is right there, going on its way down. And this is it. That's it. This is Camden Station in downtown Baltimore. In real life, the MARC tracks would end right here. The Baltimore Central Light Rail line go along here and continue alongside this wall here into downtown. These tracks would terminate at this point. Over here in modern times, you would have the Orioles, Orioles Park at Camden Yards. The Baltimore Orioles baseball team plays here. Over that way would be M&T Bank Stadium. That's where the Baltimore Ravens, a football team, plays. Let's see, the light rail comes out from there. Middle branch would be just about here, along with the Westport neighborhood. Just about up there would be the Baltimore Convention Center. Inner Harbor would kind of be in this kind of open area where you like see smokestacks and stuff. In fact, I can see the water right there. It's right here. Lots of ships in there. Lots of pleasure craft too. True on the southwest side. Some of the larger ships are around the north side. 395, Interstate 395, which is a spur off Interstate 95, which we would have gone under not too long ago, along with Maryland 295, the Baltimore Washington Parkway, which basically parallels exactly what we did. We would have gone under those on the last mile. 395 comes in this way. I believe that's Cal Ripken Freeway, and then it downgrades to Howard Street, right about where the tunnel is, and Howard Street and the light rail combine and go further into downtown. We're pretty close to the center of Baltimore, if you can believe it or not. This location here doesn't do it justice. If you got on Google Earth and took a look, I have it up here. You can see that as close as I can get to Baltimore, I am about. I put the thing here correctly. I am 0.3 of a mile, or 1,500 feet from the center, and the origin, which is where you have, what defines north, south, east, and west Baltimore, is 2,500 feet away, just exactly half a mile. So this is pretty much, you know, the center of Baltimore. It's the southern edge of the center. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me for this downtown to downtown journey, and I will see you guys next time.